Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Zalaris SAP SuccessFactors second half release discussion. My name is Andy Scott, and I will be your host for today's session. We've taken a slightly different approach today, so rather than presenting a series of slides that walk through the release notes, we've decided to shake things up. Joining me from across the globe are 4 of our talented domain experts who collectively bring more than 41 years of combined SuccessFactors and HCM experience to the table. They will share their views on the most recent release that just went into production over the weekend, what excited them, what our customers have shared with them, as well as some hints and tips on how to leverage this latest release from SAP. Should you have any questions, please feel free to submit them in the chat and we will address them at the end of the session. Before we dig in, let's do a quick round the world introduction of our team here today.
Hi, so I'm Helen Dunn. I'm based in Zalaris in the UK, and I am a certified consultant in both EC and performance and goals management.
Hello, I'm Jesper Marrup from Zalaris in Denmark. I'm a Vice President for Northern Europe for professional services, and I'm also certified in EC. You're on mute. Okay.
I'm still muted, sorry for that. Good introduction. My name is Dirk Hajek. I'm from Zalaris in Germany. Joined Zalaris just 4 months ago and lead the SuccessFactors team in Germany. And happy to be here and talk to you.
And my name is Claire Badger and I'm based in Sydney, Australia, and I am the Vice President of Professional Services for the APAC region.
Thanks for joining me today, team. I'm looking forward to hearing all of your insights. So Helen, given your experience with Employee Central, what has caught your eye about this release, specifically with regards to EC?
Thanks, Andy. Yeah, this release was packed with some amazing updates to EC, and a few stood out to me in particular around EC time. So both in time off and time tracking. We often see a lot of our clients and the wider SAP community really looking for greater functionality within time off. So it's been great to see SAP have answered that with this latest release. So for example, in time off, users can now export their leave events directly from the system into their own calendars in various formats. So this was a really good customer community idea put forward, and SAP are great at responding to those customer community ideas. And that will definitely come in handy around this time of year with everyone looking to take time off to spend with their family. Another interesting point I found was with EC time off was the point-to-point replication that's been introduced. So that's a replication for time-related data between SuccessFactors and on-premises SAP payroll solutions. So many of our customers at Zalaris sit on this type of architecture, and the replication removes kind of that reliance on middleware when integrating these data types, so making that action kind of a bit more seamless. So that's a good benefit. We also anticipate that SAP are going to build up this type of replication further to more employee data required for SAP payroll. So that will help to really improve the overall experience for clients who are using both SuccessFactors EC and on-premise payrolls.
It does really highlight how SAP are continuously evolving the solution with these innovations, but it does strike me that customers can't just switch on some of these changes. Jesper, based on your experience, what would you recommend customers do to get the most value out of not only this release, but releases in general?
Great question, Andy. I've been through around 24 releases over my past 7 years. And what has become apparent is that customers who have invested their time and money in leveraging the new functionality included in the releases often have the best solutions. At the very least, I think customers should be regression testing the solutions and the mandatory updates. But I have always said that SuccessFactors is not something you implement once. It's to get the full benefit, you need to invest every year to improve the solution and enable the opt-in features.
So how do customers do that without breaking the bank?
Yeah, so I see customers who have a dedicated product or system owner being the ones that end up having the best solutions. These system and product owners often tend to be more accountable to ensure that their organization have the best solutions and less issues. SAP themselves often publish detailed release information, which is very factual, but not always the easiest to consume. Many of the dedicated partners provide more digestible release information, such as articles and webinars like these. I recommend checking out our articles as they are written in plain English by our experts who work with the solutions on a daily basis. Also, teaming up with the partners, such as us, is a way to maximize the value of the solution. Analyzing the releases and creating roadmaps often seems to be the best value, as there are easily many things the customer would like to adapt, but it needs to be prioritized and implemented in the right order. We actually had an example with a customer where they used the SAFe framework to adapt and agile the business changes. SAFe is a framework that is set out for organizations to implement agile practices at an enterprise scale.
Thanks, Jesper. And that's probably a good segue for us now to run a quick poll with our audience. So, what level of preparation is undertaken by you or your organization before each SuccessFactors release? We've given you various choices, not much at all. We put all of our trust in SAP. We review and act on it if we feel that it's required. We plan on time for post-release specific actions. We do a basic regression test, but don't apply it, or we do full regression test and change where things are needed. So please have a couple of minutes and answer that poll. And while we're waiting for answers to come in, I'll throw to Dirk. As you've worked with our clients to prep for this release, what functionality did you think that they will like most from this?
Well, for me, one of the most important things in SuccessFactors, most complex, but definitely one of the most important, is the role-based permissions. There is some great functionality in this release with regards to the RBP, as we normally say, instead of role-based permissions, just RBP. It's faster. So that's in my point of view, that's the best thing, or one of the best things in the release.
Yes, clearly security and access level are top of mind, especially in this day and age. What is helpful to customers with regards to role-based permissions?
Well, if you really go in details, I guess it's 3 improvements that are really great benefit for every customer. First of all, there is the possibility to have a change history of a permission role. Of course, there was a change log before, so you could see when a permission role was changed, but you couldn't see the exact changes in detail when you looked at it. So you had to document each step you changed in a row to know what you did and when you did it. And that's a big change that you now can even compare 2 versions of a permission role. So if you made changes in the past, you can just switch to that role and compare what has changed in that exact moment and what you added or what you removed to a permission role. Another big thing, a second major improvement surely, is the view-only permission. I guess it's very important for the customers. There is a separate role, a separate permission you have to give to anybody who has to maintain permission roles. So everybody who had that role was able to change it even. Now you have a view-only permission, what means that an administrator, the customer, for example, can look at all of these roles can get an overview of these roles, can even think about how and what changes a customer would need. But the final changes in the system still only can be done by trained experts. So you can look at a role, you can look at a permission, you can watch what you need, and then tell anybody, could we please change that? But you're not able to do that on your own, and maybe it's a security role, as you just said, and then maybe everybody just sees the amount you get each month because somebody just clicked the wrong field. And I said it's 3, so there's one at the end, last but not least. It's again helpful for customers maybe that you can get automated messages when a permission group is changed. So again, you're just informed. So hey, here somebody did something. So you have a dual control principle in that way. The one who's changing it, and you inform another one just to have a look at it. Here, that's what I did. That's what he did. That's what anybody did. And so it's again to make sure that no mistakes in this sensitive area occur.
It seems like these role-based permissions seem to be one of many things where SAP is putting responsibility and control sort of back into HR business teams' hands. Helen, do you see this as a recurring theme across the solution?
Yeah, it's certainly a recurring theme. We see several improvements in the admin center, for example, which help to give some responsibility back to the business's teams. Just including more sort of intuitive admin functions. New validation checks and alerts are being applied in the configuration actions, which I think helps to grow that confidence within a business's team, so they can better understand their system setup, maybe even make some configuration changes, but certainly reach out to their partners with confidence. And these improvements in Admin Center certainly will aid in streamlining configuration for us implementation consultants. So that's always really beneficial. So, for example, the validation checks that have been added into the business configuration UI are really valuable. So when saving changes made to HRS elements during configuration, so when adding trigger rules, for example, warning messages with specific and clear troubleshooting information will pop up on the screen. So this really helps to prevent any misconfigurations and will definitely reduce the time it takes when making corrections. Another feature in Admin Center that I think is really useful to customers, particularly in helping them take more responsibility in the system, is the expansion of tooltips within HRS elements and fields. So when you're in the business configuration, there's little small help icons next to each field, and that gives a bit of context to the field's purpose, formatting, and as Dirk mentioned, kind of around empowering people to contact their partners. This provides greater context to the customers and hopefully build a better understanding of what's causing their issues so that they can reach out to partners with a bit more detailed information that maybe they wouldn't have been able to provide without these new features that have been added in Admin Center. So I think it's beneficial. My word of caution here is that it needs to be made clear between customers and partners that those lines of responsibility. Obviously, controlling access through role-based permissions is important. You know, just because it's easy, or should I say easier, to make the changes in the Admin Center doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing to sit with a HR team fully. So, but it is great to see that these features can allow the customers to take a bit more responsibility in the system safely and with a bit of guidance as well.
Okay, let's change gears a little bit. So Claire, many organizations are going to be heading into their merit and bonus processes early next year. What can compensation administrators look forward to with the second half release to help them with this?
Yeah, sure, Andy. So the release has brought around quite a number of enhancements that customers have been requesting for quite some time. And so many of these are driven by the customer community, similar to the one that Helen raised before around the calendar sync for leave requests. So some key elements from this release. The first is the ability to add help text across your compensation template, particularly around custom fields. Compensation is a process that typically is only run once a year. And so you do find that planners get a little bit stuck. So being able to put more help text throughout the compensation plan really helps to provide some of that guidance and context for the planners with some often difficult concepts, right? To aid that process that's happening, which will lighten the burden on administrators because our planners are getting more support. There's also a new statement generation report, which allows administrators to really quickly identify employees who haven't had a compensation statement generated. This previously surprising wasn't available. And so particularly for large customers running compensation across multiple countries and multiple templates, you know, employees could slip through the cracks. And so with this new report, it's very easy to make sure that you aren't missing an employee through this critical process.
All right. Top of mind right now also is sort of employee engagement and motivation, and how companies can continually, you know, keep their employees engaged and motivated and striving for excellence. SuccessFactors has continually been building out their recognition functionality, I think, to sort of help with this. What can you tell me about that, and where is it at right now?
Yeah, so it's been built up over the past 12 months. And I would say it's now at a point where, in comparison to some of the niche products that are built to support this, I think SuccessFactors now stands up pretty well to those products. So great examples of what they've done over the past 12 months is, you know, allowing you to integrate to any third-party vendor for distributing things like gift cards and points and some of those cool redemptions that can be made. They've also got a full remit of reporting now available in report stories as well. So you can get a full picture around budget spend. You can start to compare recognition data with performance data. And I think it's becoming a really exciting element of the compensation module. And so particularly for customers who are using a third-party tool currently, and also using SuccessFactors, I think it's time to take a look at it, get a bit of a demo, and understand how it functions. And that way, you know, you can build it into your full suite. So I think now's the time to look.
Okay, thank you. One last question for you, Claire. Jesper mentioned earlier that working with partners is a good way to ensure value out of a solution and releases in general. Can you tell us about partners that Zalaris works with and how, you know, to support us as well as help our clients out with these releases?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have formed a very strong partnership with CodeBot for SAP SuccessFactors, which is a robotic automation tool. And we leverage this throughout a customer's life cycle, from both implementation and design through to support as well. And what that tool allows us to do is to connect to a SuccessFactors instance via APIs and robotics. And it is able to formulate full documentation for SuccessFactors. And so what that means is, as you're going through all of these releases, you can connect CodeBot and it is able to always keep your documentation up to date, as that is one of the key things I think we see customers miss. And even support partners at times where the release will go through or something gets changed and then the workbook is out of sync and you don't have that source of truth for your configuration decisions. And so CodeBot definitely helps with the documentation and governance around changes. And the other piece is that they've developed a test automation tool within the CodeBot product where you can build out baseline scenarios. So thinking about your regression testing, scenarios can be built into CodeBot and then run automatically and trigger your testing documentation or evidence. And by CodeBot running some of those generic tests that you repeat over and over again, it allows you to focus on the high touch areas where you really want to make sure the system's working. So yeah, I think that's a perfect example of where a partner can help.
And that also reminds me that one of the attendees today will be eligible for a complimentary health check on a SuccessFactors module of their choice, where we will actually be leveraging CodeBot to document their current solution for them. So after this session, we will be contacting the lucky winner and organize a meeting with our domain experts and use the tool. So that wraps up a lot of what we were going to talk about, but let's see if we have any questions from the audience or attendees. Let me open this here. So I see we have one, something that doesn't always get a lot of press or understanding is the opportunity marketplace. It's continuing to evolve. Claire, what are your thoughts on this product?
Yeah, it's an exciting one. So Opportunity Marketplace is both a new product within the SAP SuccessFactors suite, but it's also a new concept. And I think that's probably why it doesn't get a lot of press is probably people struggling to articulate what it means and what it does. And so what the SAP Opportunity Marketplace is all about is focusing on the employee's whole self. So considering, we have visibility of their performance goals, their development goals, potentially their competency profile, we can now start to bring that together in a catalog of opportunities. So that could include things like mentoring opportunities. It could be secondments. And so it allows managers and employees to engage with that marketplace, both posting opportunities, but also applying for them as well. And there's a bit of logic in place, a bit of an algorithm that focuses around, if there's a competency that you want to develop, it can start to curate that opportunity marketplace for you based on what it is that you want to get out of it. So I think it's an exciting concept, exciting feature. And there's a lot of other products out there that do a similar thing, but particularly for customers that are wall-to-wall success factors, this is a great addition to leverage all the data that you have. And on the same vein, I think WorkZone is in a similar spot, being new, not getting a lot of press, but I believe we just went live with our first customer over in Europe. Jesper, is that right?
Yeah, that's true. We went live with the first HR WorkZone customer in Northern Europe, which we are very proud of. It was a great success, and we are already in dialogue with a lot of other customers who see the WorkZone product as a great opportunity to improve the employee user experience.
Yeah, absolutely. How exciting. That puts you on the map.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, it doesn't look like we have any other questions, so you must have answered everything in this last 30 minutes. I think we have come to the end, so I really enjoyed that. I hope everyone else did. A big thank you to Helen, Claire, Jesper, and Dirk for sharing their thoughts with me today, and everyone who attended. Wherever you are in the world, enjoy the rest of your day, and of course, a big season's greetings to everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.